friend can always give me a gift. So when is a gift not a gift? But that time, we all said, yeah, there was Minister Lightburn, who was known as Mr. 10%. You never gave him money in his hand. When you went to visit and you wanted drinks, he says, the ice is in the freezer. That meant you carry the money and put the money in the freezer, and then you had to drink, and then, so you didn't give money to him. There have been politicians who have paid money for the sons to get jobs in certain ministries, and in fact, being directors. You had Michael Manley getting a big box of cash put at his feet at the annual conference. That behavior is now not tolerated at all. Let me say, there have been moves afoot to put some guidelines in store. And it's a farcical move because politicians are supposed to spend a certain amount. Politicians, everyone conforms to it, and it's a ritual when they fill out the form, right? Nobody ever spends more than the stipulated amount. But there is nothing. There's a book called Friends of the.
That's right.
XYZ.
That's right.
So you are your friend, yeah. And your friend can pay any amount of money, give you anything he wants. He may not give you holidays. You can stay in his house. You can use his car, everything. You can use his wife and his girlfriend.
Oh.
Right? Party. You get many things, man.
Okay.
What has happened? It is now being the people who are the beneficiaries are now complaining that the ministers and those in power and authority or can do things are demanding so much, not only of the elected ones, even the ones who are not elected. You have to pay. And no,
the question
you have to pay them to get anything.
Paul, the question is the corruption perception so significant as to change the outcome of an election? So hang on. I think Daniel wants to come in on that. Because if the election is close and the corruption perception is of significance, then it could move it one way or the other. And the question is, how significant is corruption?
And who's more affected? Which party is more affected?
I think where you want to do it now is to look at what's before us. This is the first time in our history where you have a prime minister who is in the throes of defending his reputation for allegations of illicit enrichment. It has split the population, with those asking for greater accountability against those who come around coalesce to protect him. That's where it is. And the reality is that it is not that it is a perception anymore. The documents are there to demonstrate that there is an investigation into the Prime Minister because there are questions surrounding his wealth.
One would say it's not conclusive.
But that's not the issue. The fact is that you do have those investigations. It's been sent to the FID for investigation. And then you've had that, what do you call it? That thing that occurred where you now put somebody in that looks favorable to him. So even if it is that it's FID, if it's not, there's no charge because they said we need further information. Yes. The fact is that there are questions surrounding your own integrity. And that is a question that we've never had to answer before. Because in this jurisdiction, the leader doesn't step aside. In other jurisdictions, I bet you any dollar I have.
From a mere accusation.
From a mere accusation, you step down and wait the outcome, and then you will decide whether or not you're going to go back or not. Here, it doesn't happen. So you have those around him who are saying, "You can't touch my 1 p.m., No, go so." There are those who are saying it's wrong because every other Jamaican has to declare when they go to the bank their source of funding.
So Clark's taken a beating on it. Has he defended himself sufficiently?
Well, can I tell you, I'm not his lawyer to determine whether he's defended himself or not. I must say, bringing the judicial review suit has amplified the issues in the society because it is now available for everybody to read the affidavits that the evidence sworn before a JP filed on paper that the Prime Minister and his legal team sought to have some aspects of it struck out as being scandalous and so on. Before the litigation, you wouldn't have access to some of this information.
Right.
Now this information is filed in court. So I don't know what's the end game, because even if the Prime Minister succeeds in quashing that report, they still have to go back to answering the same set of questions that had been asked previously, because, and it will be about 2 more years to go after that. So I don't know what the end.
What happened with FID now? Because
That's
the international
correct.
community
Yes.
has often recommended that it becomes an independent body.
Absolutely.
Not one
With
that
the
is
ministry,
with-
yeah.
not one that's attached to a ministry. So the questions now will arise. You see, it's a catch-22. The labor rights are saying we're defending our 1PN. There has been a historic growth. All is going well. The PNP are taking up what many persons in civil society, whether they're on the voters list or not, they're the ones who are saying this don't look good and now are making this demand. Whether it comes out tonight into the ballot is going to be decisive. But it doesn't change though, Paul, the impact that people will be demanding greater integrity and accountability going forward.
Let me tell you
Okay,
something.
go ahead, Paul.
You see, like, Jamaica is a very complex society. Drug dealers really weren't afraid of Jamaican police, no. It's when you had a thing called extradition, right? That is when scammers and drug dealers, get freed, right? Catch them freed. It's the same thing with these corrupt beneficiaries. United States is watching, and United States is aware. You can think you're smart, and you can get very wealthy, and you don't know where you get your 3-4 motor cars and where you get your wealth from. When United States decides, look here, Mr. Politician, you can't hold office any longer.
It depends on if that lines up with their own interest. That's right.
There you go. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Remember, there are ones who also indicated and have made steps to say bribery is acceptable. Gifts
That is why
gifts
I
are acceptable.
That is well aware. There are certain people who had promising political futures that don't have it anymore. Don't have it anymore.
So here's one.
Go ahead, Claude.
And I say corruption perception because the process is ongoing, as Daniel just pointed out.
Right.
The file has been sent to FI for further investigation. The investigator from the Integrity Commission said that they have capacity within the Integrity Commission to deal with what needs to be dealt with and so on. As we all know,
They hired an
yes, but I'm
auditor.
just saying what he said in his report.
Okay.
As we all know, the Prime Minister is testing whether or not sending it to FID, it having come to Parliament, is a breach of the procedure in relation to that. That's what he's testing, not whether they have enough or not, just testing that. That's what judicial review is about, not the substance, but the steps and the procedures, whether we're followed by law. Because remember, that report did not go to corruption prosecutor for a determination in the Integrity Commission and a charge. It didn't go, that's a normal route. Investigate, send it up to corruption prosecutor, director of corruption prosecution. That person then determines whether or not they have enough evidence to proceed on the charge and so forth and so on. Before it's tabled in Parliament. So that's what's been tested, and that's important for us to make sure we understand what's being tested. The question of whether or not this court is not going to decide on the substantive questions as to whether he can answer the questions concerning the source of income that is at the heart of some of the issues that he's facing now. But it is bad. And what we will know, that there's a cloud hanging over insofar as an investigation. We will know later the extent to which Jamaicans still consider this to be significant. And I just close on this one thing, corruption. When you said drugs earlier, Paul, the society is a little complex because man, in my country, in Hanover and Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth Center, now I'm going to say them ganja farming as drugs, So during that time, that's correct, they would only see cocaine as a transmit point, not them ganja farming. And if anybody know anything in Jamaica, a whole heap of people build them edifice and them castle and bases, and a whole heap of you go school and turn doctor, lawyer, and Indian chief on the basis of ganja farming. A long time Jamaica should have liberate the ganja farmers.
So I want to turn to another. Go ahead.
Before you finish that, it's not only the Prime Minister. If we are to believe Marky G, right? If we are to believe what he says, right? He says there are 10 individuals from the other side on the investigation. 10. So we're talking about something looking like Alibaba and the False Sea.
You know that I would go as far as
I'm,
saying that.
I'm not going there.
So we're looking at something like
So I want to go on the flip side now. So, given the integrity divide, where some people say like the integrity commission was wrong, or didn't do things the right way.
That's
A concern, right? Is there a concern about the confidence that the Jamaican people will have in the integrity commission itself?
Yeah, man, one politician accost them, the Jamaican people know said about do a good job. One politician cussing them, Jamaican, especially when they're in government. What I have a challenge with is that with all the perceptions we have had, we have never really successfully prosecuted any real serious politician except Jack Smith.
And that was Bobby, because he would say chicken feed.
Well, that's exactly what he would be, that he has said in terms of monies and so on. Jack Smith and one judge, one magistrate, as I recall, who is in halfway tree for corruption, names elude me now. Those are the only two persons in the different branches of our government I've ever seen
Go to prison.
Yes, or convicted. I don't remember, just convicted. And remember, we have had a lot of corruption perception. The JLP won an election, and they said Audley was the man who just released everything, revealed everything, the corruption and so forth. But we have not had, which means that there's something amiss, and we need to find out what's amiss and fix it. Otherwise, it's 5% to 6% GDP. The country can't grow because of the following things. The cost of energy is just too much. And until we fix that, but the cost of corruption, 5 to 6% is estimated of the value of your economy. Corruption eats out.
We have to also in the discussion recognize that the PNP have some individuals who are running for office who have been involved in corruption.
Well, I was saying our politicians
Generally, yes,
but it's more dangerous when they're in government. Typically,
get corrupt in government.
Absolutely.
But guys,
We're both saying the same thing.
Yes.
That there is and there exists corruption on both sides. And the population is, I would use a very euphemistic word, disgusted, tired of it. But there's no, I think tonight you'll determine if there's an appetite to change that. Because the question still stands. If politicians, regardless of whether they're orange or they're green, are all corrupt, does it make a difference?
The question is who carries the heavy baggage tonight. Robust discussion. Stay with us as the Jamaica Observer continues to cover election night, election day 2025. We'll be right back.
He's saving to make sure that this one doesn't have to worry about student loans. This is Tevin. He's saving to make sure that next year he can live by his own rules. And this is Janelle. She's saving to make sure that the girl's trip to Greece makes it out of the group chat. They all have one thing in common. Their JN Bank savings. Saving little by little is what makes life affordable. Stop wishing you could. With your JN Bank savings, you absolutely can. JN Bank will help you find a way.
Need a AC to cool the temperature, get chilled and ATL, Panasonic's exclusive distributor in Jamaica, now brings you the all-new R32 air conditioners. Powered by eco-friendly R32 gas, which uses 50% less refrigerant, you get to cool faster, save more, and protect the planet. Thanks to Verta technology, you get top performance with real savings on your monthly bill, starting at just $59,999. Start your summer with ATL! Terms and conditions apply.
Shifters, you don't know it's a boy named Clue, and this is where car culture meets real life.
This is Mark. He's saving to make sure that this one doesn't have to worry about student loans. This is Tevin. He's saving to make sure that next year he can live by his own rules. And this is Janelle. She's saving to make sure that the girl's trip to Greece makes it out of the group chat. They all have one thing in common. Their JN Bank savings. Saving little by little is what makes life affordable. Stop wishing you could. With your JN Bank savings, you absolutely can. JN Bank will help you find a way.
ATL, Panasonic's exclusive distributor in Jamaica, now brings you the all-new R32 air conditioners. Powered by eco-friendly R32 gas, which uses 30% less refrigerant, you get to cool faster, save more, and protect the planet. Thanks to Inverter technology, you get top performance with real savings on your monthly bill, starting at just $59,999. Start out your summer with ATL! Terms and conditions apply.
Shifters, you don't know it's a boy named Clue, and this is where car culture meets real life.
You know, if I want to use the social services in which to improve my life,
They're very difficult to access. The JUTC does not have an app. I can't sit outside my gate and reasonably know where the bus is and if it's coming. I have to wait in vain. I think in 2025, where cars can drive themselves, the basic app needs to be there. Water is another big issue. They have lockoffs every year. They're bright, they're intelligent, they have 50 diplomas, but they can't figure out how to get me piped water consistently. Garbage is another big thing. Everywhere you go, it stinks. You can't figure out how to get the garbage truck to run on time. The basic things that are needed for a democracy cannot be met, should be met. And whoever is elected must account for those granular level things. Another basic area is security. I can't afford to go to the gym. I shouldn't be forced to go to the gym. I want to be able to use the streets. I want to be able to walk. There are a lot of people that are mentally unstable on the streets. You cannot call a mental health unit and be assured that they will answer the phone.
Parties tend to look at more macro stuff, and the minor issues get lost.
Are they wrong to do so?
Eh?
Are they wrong to do so?
Yes, but I suppose they will say that the use of time, but I know, all right, some people have a cynical view of politicians. You only see them when election is near. The road get fixed when election is near. Different things improve when election is near. So most politicians treat people like they are idiots, that they don't have no memory. And so that's why 20%, I think 20% voted the last time, or 30%.
30.
Right, that's why the majority don't vote, because they are cynical about everything that they hear. That is a big problem in Jamaica. So they need to get to speak about the small things. As this mayor said, that an app for JUTC is a good idea. Never thought of it. But the average man could go on his phone, look on the app and see when the bus is supposed to come. So him don't go there and stand and the bus start for 1-2 hours and the bus not coming. So there's some simple things. The garbage schedule, when we get when light goes out from JPS, sometimes you don't get a text that they have a problem. Like them 1 in 5 them do that. When water goes, so water just goes away like every week. The area I live in, water goes away almost every week. And nothing from NWC. These are some of the little but important and critical issues. And I hope that politicians need to, but you see that them only talk now, you know. After election done, a time to spend money.
I'm actually glad that he said, you know, most politicians, they think Jamaicans are idiots. Them no know say right now we are gaining our sense of identity. You know, we know who we are and we know that we deserve more than this. Now, why should I get up and say, oh, mega vote? But still yet, the road in my community full of beer pothole and all of them things. Why should I get up and vote when, and I'm talking about lived experiences, why should I get up and vote when my mother is struggling day to day, you know, living hand to mouth?
All right, so we are joined on set now by O'Neill Madden. O'Neill, I want to start with you. The members of the focus group talked about garbage collection, cleaning the drains, fixing potholes, not having running water at times. Why aren't we there? Why are we still struggling in 2025?
A very good question, and I can relate to some of what was said in the clip just now. Having grown up in a rural community, I've seen some of these things being manifested. I think our leaders and our systems, those who are in charge, the garbage collection unit and stuff, they have really not been playing their role as to how they should have been doing that. And these are basic things that should be addressed. Like, these are basic necessities that you'd imagine that any decent running country should have under control. And, we just came out of another year of independence, and having gone over 60 years of independence, one would imagine that these are things that would have been, on par with other places in the world. And so I just feel like our leaders have, I heard the conversation earlier about corruption and money going elsewhere. Our leaders have failed us in that regard to really implement things in place and to reach people and to give them the basic thing that will make their lives easier.
So
It's the short-term mentality that's a big part of our problem. The waste management situation in Jamaica is in crisis. It's not just the collection from your home. Jamaica does not have one sanitary landfill. And that we mean that landfill where you put the waste that meets international standard in terms of environment and so forth, not one. The largest landfill is on a riverhead, that it end river where it puts out, that's Riverton. That's why it's called Riverton. That's where we have the waste. 60% of the waste in the country roughly ends up in Riverton. I hear them talking about waste energy. We have organic waste. That is not good material to transform. You might get enough to run the plant on the premises and probably light a few street lights here and there. What we need to do is to find a way to have proper sanitary landfills built and operated on the license contract by private sector. They then benefit from tipping fees when the trucks come to tip. We need to shift NWSMA out of operations and get them to become real regulators